right. All right. So question to start off. Why is volunteerism so important in your city? I'd love to get some feedback from y'all. Why is volunteerism so important to you in your city? And I want to do, well, yeah, let's just do that. And if you guys are able to turn your screens on, let's kind of have some interaction here on why volunteerism is so important in your city. Who wants to start us off? I'm going to start calling on people.
I'll jump in. So for us, we have a lot of diversity and it's a large city for for California. And so people that want to give back or contribute or do something meaningful, getting them together in one place at one time, even if it's 20 people or whatever number it is, I find that to be valuable for each of those people, plus the effect that it has on whatever the project is that they're doing. So just collaborative, good energy together. And of course, it benefits the city and the project that you're doing, but it benefits the people that are contributing also.
Love it. That's really well said, Nathan. Anyone else? Why do you think volunteerism is so important in your city?
I can go. Oh, sorry. For us at COS I Love You, a huge part of volunteerism is helping the church have on-ramps to real needs. We in Colorado, there's some distinct, I think, cultural parts of Colorado Springs that we're really known for. We have so many churches, and it is a huge deal that our faith community is out in the city alongside our city partners, our nonprofits, our civic leaders. And so for us, volunteerism because I Love You is a huge part of saying, hey, churches are not just these buildings that sit on corners. They're also filled with people that care about the flourishing of our community. And then in addition to that, I would just say there are so many nonprofits in Colorado Springs. So over 4,000, and some of them are quite large and some of them are well known nationally. And many of them just need people. They need people to show up and serve. And a lot of families and people that sit in pews and neighbors, they don't know that they have a role to play in those 4,000 nonprofits. So when we do something like City Serve Day, it's saying, hey, here's an on-ramp to real need that you can meet.
Very good, Corey. Yeah, you guys are in a very unique situation for sure than most cities. But I love
so many nonprofits. Holy cow.
Wow. Someone else.
I was just going to say really briefly that I feel like it just brings the community together. Like it brings this unity, this bondage, just where we're working together towards one goal. And it's like nice too, just because we do all our projects at local nonprofit organizations within the city. And so Los Alamitos is a smaller city. So just to see like people from all around the city come together in unison at one location and to just disperse out, go to different projects and just, knock those things out. It's really like a cool sight to see. So I really feel like it just kind of brings this close togetherness, this tight knit. And yeah, I mean, it betters our community. It celebrates it and everything. So.
That's great. That's really great, Anil. Anyone else have anything else you want to contribute? Why volunteerism is so important in your community?
Yeah, this is Sarah. Sorry, I'm driving, so I'm not on video, but one of the things that we learned after our first citywide day was that so many of the volunteers came and they had said that they wanted to contribute and volunteer in the community, but they just didn't know where or how to start. And Love Ventura kind of gave them the platform to get connected. And so that's one of the big things that we found with our volunteers.
That's really good, Sarah. Well, hey, I just want to appreciate all of you on behalf of Danielle and Dave too, to say thank you. You guys are the champions of volunteerism in your community. And you are the conveners. You are the ones who are just out there and making it happen and inspiring your whole community. And I love the theme of unity. Like that's what volunteerism does, doesn't it? It brings our community together. No matter what your your background is, your beliefs, your, your occupation, your age, your gender, your ethnicity, or whatever it is. It's a unifying thing. It's a beautiful thing to meet and see and volunteer next to people who are just different than you. And but yet we all have so much in common still. And I think that's the beautiful thing, is of all this division that is happening in our cities, in our country, in our world, is that, man, it's a beautiful thing when we can, like, hey, we're all for better in our community. No one is against that. No one is against volunteerism right now. That's not a controversial topic. That's something that, hey, we're all for, no matter what your persuasion or opinions are. And so, I just want to appreciate all of you for being a champion in your community of volunteerism. There is, man, this is a growing opportunity that we have, and our cities are looking towards us to help bring our community together. And so thank you all. I really appreciate you all. I want to share a couple things. Is, first of all, this is the time of the year where we have a lot of cities that join us, new cities that come on board because they're planning for the next year. So here we are in September, and this is a prime opportunity for a lot of new cities to join us. So I want to challenge you all, is you all know cities around you, in cities that maybe aren't around you, maybe around the country or around the world, that people there that you'd go, man, they would love to have their city name. I mean, and that's how this thing has spread so much, is through all you. You guys are the ambassadors. You're the ones that said, hey, I heard about this through the city next to us, or the city, my friend lives there and they told me about what they're doing in their city. Can you help us get this thing started in our city? So I want to just encourage you all, is keep spreading the good news, is sharing this with other cities that and let's see how many more cities that we can help. I want some tools that you can use to share, to email or to text or to post on your social media. I'm going to share with you a couple tools, and one, Dave's going to cue a video that we did, kind of promoting, this is what Love Our Cities is all about, and here's how we want to help your city. So go for it when you're ready.
All over our world, cities are facing some really big and difficult challenges. And now more than ever, it seems like our cities are dividing over everything. What if the people in your city were to come together to love and help one another? People from all different political views, backgrounds, beliefs, and ages volunteering together to better their community. For over 15 years, Love Our Cities has helped more than 100 cities love and care for their communities in tangible ways. We've had over 250,000 volunteers who have provided over $33 million in community service, and these numbers continue to grow each year. We work alongside our city partners to lead citywide volunteer days and year-round efforts addressing the challenges in our cities, including homelessness, underserved neighborhoods, school partnerships, foster families, seniors, human trafficking, gang violence, and many others. We are looking for leaders in cities all over our world who can work together with their community to lead citywide volunteer days and year-round events.
Very good. So that's a video that we have right on our front of our website, and it's not choppy either. It goes real smoothly when you play it. Welcome to Zoom. Somehow videos do this all the time on Zoom for some reason. But that's one tool. Another tool certainly is we have a book that we love to get out as well. We have free digital copies we send out. We also have a one-pager that I'm going to send out. I want to make sure in the email after this call that can be sent out as well. October 31 is our our date every year where we ask for cities to sign this annual contract, say, hey, we're on board, we're in, and then also to give their annual contribution as well, depending on your city size. So October 31 is the day. A lot of cities have already donated already or already contributed, and so awesome. Thank you. The earlier the better. Makes us organize things a little bit better when things come in not all at once. So as soon as you're able to get that in, I really, really appreciate it. One last thing, update on our app that we are working on and developing to go hand in hand with the website. And the update is this, it's happening. John, our developer, he's doing all this behind the scenes work. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that has to happen. As soon as we get some screenshots, some ideas, I can't wait to share them with you guys. It's just show as this thing comes together over these next coming months here. But y'all, I believe this is going to be a game changer. Just like a volunteer day is super important to get, to launch this in our cities, to get people out for one day. This year-round effort is going to go hand in hand with it. And I know we're already doing a lot of year-round things, and we want to do more year-round things, but I guess I've always felt like I've given it to, nonprofit leaders. Hey, continue to volunteer, but it hasn't always worked. People aren't doing it. I think if we can come up with a mechanism to encourage continual volunteerism throughout the year, I think we're going to be way more successful, especially if we have a really effective app. And so this app is going to be simply find your place to volunteer, find an event to volunteer. It's going to, locate, nearby you volunteer opportunities. So it's going to profile your city. There's going to be a leaderboard on here as well, a local leaderboard where your screen name or whatever your screen name is, you'll see it on the leaderboard locally, but as well as it'll be compared to all of our cities as well to see where people are at. I think it's going to be fun to see where people are at on the leaderboard. And then rewards. Super excited about rewards. Last week met with Starbucks, and they are in on offering rewards, for the first, for example, you donate or you volunteer 25 hours, Starbucks will donate like a $10 gift card or credit, that you can use. I've been talking to Chick-fil-A and others, local businesses here. Everyone seems to be in on this. It's a great PR for them, and it's also great for us as well. So I think this is going to be a huge game changer. So I just can't wait to keep you guys updated as this thing develops throughout this next coming months here. All right, Danielle, share with us about this amazing resource page that we've worked super hard to give to our city leaders so they are well prepared.
Yeah. So I have been kind of digging around, revamping the resource page that you all have access to. And so we made a couple changes where you do have to have an access code. And so just so everyone has it, I threw the link in there to our resource page, or how to get there. And then the access code is LOVE 2024. And what I'd really love to do for the next couple of minutes is just kind of ask you guys a couple of questions. And then Dave also sent a Google form for you guys to fill out on just a couple questions. What do you look for most frequently when you guys are going to the resource page? Who on your team uses it? And then what ideas may be missing? What ideas are you seeking? This helps us kind of just be able to refresh it as often as we can, but then also be able to give you guys what you want in building out your citywide days, and just helping volunteers, helping, those ruts that you might be in as the creative ideas just aren't flowing. You're like, I need help. And being able to just go to the resource page. And so Corey, to answer you, Dave, that's a you question. Google form doesn't open unless we're given permission.
On it.
He's on it. So while he's doing that, there's just a level of, we want to give you guys the best resources possible. And honestly, a lot of that comes to you guys and each other are the best resources. And so I am consistently running through your websites, on your social media, looking through and saying, oh man, that's a really good idea, and trying to throw it on a resource page. And so if you ever want to boast about something that you did, send it my way and say, I think this worked really well. But we just want to be the best resource for you guys. And so I think that form is accessible. I'm going to shut up for 2 minutes and I would love you guys to just kind of fill that out so I can get that information, and then we'll we'll move on.
Sorry, Dave. I don't know if anybody else is having this issue. I'm struggling to get into the Google Forms
Me
still.
too. Me too.
Boy, this is embarrassing. My apologies.
No, you're okay.
It could be that y'all need to hit refresh since I did not have it open initially.
I did hit refresh. It's still not opening.
That's fantastic. This
All
is
right.
super helpful.
How about Dave, why don't let's send that link later and then we can move on in our call.
Man,
But you all have to promise me right now that you'll fill it out.
that's gonna be the catch right there.
Yep.
Killing me that this is not working.
We
It
will.
says available to all, but we'll get it figured out. Our apologies.
Technology, man.
Yep. Hey, one of the things that we love doing is ripping each other off. And so what are the ideas that are working in our cities that we're pursuing? And then how can we use those ideas to aid the work that we're doing in our own cities? So this past weekend, one of our cities on this call actually had a great expression of Love Our Cities with Labor of Love, which I think is a super creative name, right? Because it happened on Labor Day weekend. So Nathan in Anaheim was running point with that. So Nathan, give us a few highlights from Labor of Love this past weekend.
Okay, thanks. Many of you know that we have a decentralized sort of model without a gigantic event once a year. So we do many smaller events. So this last weekend was a particular church, actually our sponsoring church, that had 106 people do 13 projects, and a huge impact though of probably touching 3,000 to 5,000 people with all the things that will be given out or distributed in the next couple of months. So highlights for me was just watching that church, or this church, onboard volunteers, lead projects, plan and organize projects, and then lead the project, and then see the collective impact of 3 congregations and about 6 other partners from the city or local community, all clustered together for 2 or 3 hours, and kind of accomplishing what I mentioned earlier, the collective energy together, making a difference for others. And so anyway, it was a really good event.
Fantastic. Give us, if you were to do a deep dive in one snapshot of a specific project that sticks out to you, what does that look like?
So there's a weekly pantry at the church actually that hosted the event, the Labor of Love event. Their 10th annual event actually. So they have a drive-through pantry that's partnered up with the city and 5 other distribution locations. And so some of the people from that pantry said, let's make a succulent plant, like a froofy little succulent plant that we need cuttings for, and some people can get together and do that, and then hand that out at the next couple of pantries to every family. And so they spent about a month collecting succulent cuttings of different kinds and heights. I didn't know that much about it, but and then they got a little pot, little enough to work and big enough to have a couple of little cuttings. They got the soil, they got some experts involved. So that whole project, they made 240 little succulent plants that will then be distributed to families at the pantry that drive through. With the pantry that is already structured so that there's people with a touch point every single week. So they greet the person, they look them in the eyes, they in some way say, we love you and care about you. And some weeks here's a gift for you, a little something, or sometimes it's a big something, a roll of paper towels or a hygiene bag. So they the people leading this project decided, well, let's make these for that pantry, and then let's do something really good. So that was one project that really was encouraging for me. And I took I asked them if I could have a couple of little succulent plants, because they're really impactful if you hand them to somebody and just say, hey, this is a gift for you. So anyway, that was one of the projects out of the 13. And then another idea I could mention, anytime you do a cluster project event like this, we include Red Cross. We asked them, and we included Red Cross, and so we did a blood drive at the same time. And so that was a really meaningful thing for some, not all, but there was people coming and going throughout the 3 or 4 hours giving blood, and some people that came to the event also gave blood. So that's another thing the group could probably do nationwide.
So you mentioned there are 3 churches that were in this particular cluster project. Tell us about your pathway to build relationship with those churches. What motivates them to be part of Labor of Love and Love Anaheim?
So obviously the connection to project ideas and infrastructure and pulling it off is not always there right away. And so their motivation was getting some of their people together and in a process, I guess, of doing something meaningful in the local community that was bigger than them, as a group of 5 or 10, or even a church of 100. These are smaller churches. So yeah, one of their motivations was just doing something bigger than them together, and then also impacting the city in some way that would be something they couldn't do otherwise on their own. So we had two of the churches went to a mobile home park, and we have a process of going a month out to the mobile home park, giving them a touch point gift. This time we did a little first aid kit about this big, little first aid kit with what we call a work order on there. So it says, I need food, I need conversation, I need yard work. And so we handed that out to 250 mobile homes a month out. Those get routed to their manager. So we're partnered with these places. You can't just walk in there and do this. But so, and then on the day of, we had 20 work orders that then needed something: weed pulling, painting in their shed, things that the seniors couldn't do. So 2 of the churches took those 2, and 1 did the other miscellaneous things. But the 2 churches that did those had a really meaningful time. Of course, these are mostly widows or elderly folks that can't get to the work, and then they're so appreciative of it. And then one of the churches did a lunch in the clubhouse. They did an assembly project of 100 touch point item, like a hygiene bag, and that was fun. And then the workers that went, and some of the seniors, they I don't know how they didn't have 200 people having lunch in the clubhouse, but they did it in such a way that there was probably about 30 people having lunch in the clubhouse. And when I came later just to say hello, there was so many meaningful conversations going on with people that were there serving, and the seniors that came to have the lunch. And that part of it alone was really good. But anyway, those 2 churches had a very significant time. And then I think they're probably going to follow up or partner up with us again on another round because they saw how much work was needed or how meaningful it was. Even pulling weeds for somebody is, a big deal.
Yesterday, you shared with me one of the ways that one of the churches uses this in terms of inviting others to join them in service. Would you share that with this group? Because I thought that was such a great addition to the project.
So you guys will laugh. You'll laugh at this because of the website and all that. But this Magnolia Baptist chose to not use a website. They said, we want to pray over, this is a couple months out, pray over a project that God wants you to do, like take a walk in your neighborhood. There was a rubric for a prayer walk, and so that was another aspect of it. Do a prayer walk, see what God has going on or what he wants you to do. Pick a project, find a captain, join up with somebody, and then that's how we're going to select the projects this year. So that happened. We ended up with 12 project plus the blood drive. Somebody's idea was a blood drive. So we had 12 projects, and then their goal is it got pushed to them as a captain to recruit a friend, neighbor, family, somebody to fill the volunteer spots, because it wasn't going to be up on the website and people wouldn't just come. So it was on them, really, in a good way, to pray and have God lead them to invite a friend or a neighbor or somebody. And so we actually filled up all the projects like that with volunteers. And then obviously people hear about it, know about it, they want to come the day of. So we had some walk-up projects. The succulent project was one that people could walk up to. And then we had a food bagging of 500 bags of food. There was a couple you could walk up to, but we didn't have walk-ups and a big, coming in energy like that. But it was so meaningful for people to feel a responsibility, a good responsibility for having volunteers come that were either their friends or neighbors, and then participate in a way that they can talk about later after the event. And then also, I think, feeling obligated to further the relationships with those people and the project that they did. So a lot of times it's a one-off big thing and it's a one and done. We try not to do that. I know all of us try not to do that. It's hard to counter the one and done mentality though. So I found that this method created that, and then it made me laugh because they wanted to do clipboards and sign up on a clipboard like we used to do 15 years ago. But that's what they did, and it was kind of retro, old school, but it worked. And it worked for 106 people, but it was substantial. So
Fun. That's fun. Okay, before we turn to the next thing, I want to give you all, because Nathan's presenting a different model here of folks engaging. So I want to make sure that I give opportunities for any questions that you have of Nathan and how they executed this different model before we turn to the next thing. So anybody want to come off mute or type a question in the chat, go for it. Now's your time. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure we had that window. So here's what I need you to do is, what are the maybe list 1 or 2 criteria that you use to determine whether or not to line up a project in your single day of volunteerism? So what are those criteria? Do you just let anything go? Do you not? So would you spend just a moment writing that down? Everybody on the call, what are those 1 or 2 criteria that you use to vet potential projects to include in your single day of service? What does that look like? Okay, so you got that written down. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to send you to some conversation rooms, and would you share that 1 or 2 criteria that you came up with the rest of the folks that are in your breakout room. So we'll see you in about 7 minutes.